trust, which is why for many of you in local communities in our cities or in our regions, that's your relationship that you have with your local communities. That is a bit like the relationship that people used to have with their newsagent or the post office. Many of those things had changed over a period of time. Your relationship with your customers and your communities has not. And I'd argue that it's been strengthened, because that is something people are looking for. People are really looking for that people-to-people relationship that can't be replaced by something online, that needs to be melded with trust and through word of mouth through your communities. The truth is that none of your businesses would survive if word of mouth undermined your businesses. If people said, well, I got this car, I could have done better, or people didn't give us the vehicle and the model that I really needed, and I didn't get the right advice, your businesses wouldn't survive. Instead, you're here in this room because the opposite has happened. Because word of mouth has said, I went to City Ford, Nick Politis and the people who served us looked after me. They looked after me and I got the right vehicle for the right price, and the follow-up in terms of service was very good. So why don't you go there? That's how your businesses have been built. That's why you are here in this room. That's why you continue to employ Australians and to succeed. And I thank you for it, because your industry is such a fantastic model of successful businesses and what you represent. And I can't think of any industry where that is as much the case as it is for yours. And that is why we're working so closely with your association. The truth is that you know more than any politician from any shape or form about your industry than we do. So we need to listen to you and engage with you to make sure that Australian laws deliver a fair go for consumers and a level playing field for dealers. Because we know that in order to protect consumers from unfair practices, we have to protect dealers as well. And that starts with unfair trading practices. At the last election, we made a commitment to expand unfair trading practice protections to small businesses and traders covered by the Franchising Code of Conduct. This is about addressing a power imbalance, correcting a double standard that the AADA has campaigned strongly against, and making sure that multinational manufacturers cannot engage in conduct towards dealers that would be illegal if it was directed at consumers. We gave that commitment and work is underway to deliver it. As I'm sure many of you have discovered, Andrew Lee is an absolute terrier when it comes to consumer laws and competition policy. His department in Treasury have commenced the first round of targeted consultation and will release the public discussion paper in April next month. After that, we want to take the next step in weeks, not months. And we want any legislational changes that are required to be done this year. That will be a win for your advocacy and a win for your members. Every bit as importantly, it will be a win for small businesses, franchise holders and their customers across the economy. When we came to government in 2022, we outlawed unfair contract terms for small businesses and consumers. And for the first time, we gave the ACCC and ASIC the power to seek penalties against companies that breach these laws. Now we're building on that, expanding these small business protections to include all franchise holders registered under the Franchising Code. The government has heard directly from many of you about how difficult it can be for a local dealer to negotiate with a global manufacturer. As a result, too many dealer agreements include unilateral variation clauses, excessive order powers, termination rights that sit solely with original equipment manufacturers. Formal consultation on these reforms is complete, and as we move ahead, we'll continue to engage with the association and directly with business owners to get these changes right. We will take this same cooperative approach with supplier indemnification and consumer guarantees. A dealer should not suffer a financial loss for doing the right thing by their customer. Yet those stories are ones that you've shared with us. Manufacturers delaying approval, denying reimbursements, or trying to claw back authorised payments. We want Australians to be able to choose from the broadest possible range of vehicles and manufacturers at the best possible price. And we want to make it clear to companies new to the Australian market that they also have to meet standards around service, not rely on volume alone. Because if any manufacturer's default position is to reject a franchise holder seeking reimbursement, then that creates a structural issue for the viability of a small business. Addressing this imbalance is vital to strengthening consumer guarantees. And we'll introduce this legislation to Parliament this year. Australian consumers want a system that requires dealers to meet their obligations. We know that depends on manufacturers meeting their obligations to you. Working together, we're going to get this balance right, just as we'll work through your proposal for the new vehicle efficiency standard to calculate the point of compliance at the point of sale. And I understand that you want this to be resolved as soon as possible, and the review that our Minister for Transport, Catherine King, is leading is about making sure the Australian market remains a level playing field for dealers and consumers. The reforms you've campaigned for and the commitments we are delivering are clear, they're practical, and they're common sense. So much so, they seem pretty obvious. But these issues made it onto the national radar because of your advocacy, and these solutions are being developed because of your insights and experience. I lead a government proudly that listens. That's why my colleagues and I are always looking to engage constructively with business and industry, as well as civil society. I don't treat this process as set and forget, or a box to tick every 3 years. I think this is the third contact I've had with your association in a very short period of time in the last year. The past 4 years proved that when we work together, we get results for your members, for business, for consumers, for the economy. I really look forward to us working together in the years ahead. I look forward to coming back here, and instead of saying we're introducing legislation this year, to coming back here and speaking about the legislation that is carried and the impact that it's having on your businesses, but importantly as well, this is in the national interest for dealers as well as for consumers. Thanks very much for having me.